Welcome back. I'm your host, Darnell Jackson. In this crypto report, we're talking about Cardano ADA just smashed through all-time highs. We're going to be talking about why. But first, make sure you subscribe to your favorite channel on YouTube. Shout out to all the subscribers. Okay, let's jump over to the agenda. We're talking about why ADA smashed all-time highs today. Why did this happen? We're going to jump into a tweet trying to explain this. We're going to look at the chart. We're going to get to the bottom of what's happening. So let's start with a tweet. Is this why ADA has hit an all-time high? Here's a tweet from Input Output HK, which is the official handle for Cardano. It's happening. We're targeting 12 December 2021 for the Alonzo upgrade, bringing smart contracts to Cardano via a hard fork combinator event. You've heard of KFC, now learn about HFC. That's the hard fork combinator. Found out more about the journey to a new era of smart contracts, DeFi, more for Cardano. Okay, we'll look into GoGun Alonzo development update. This was published on August 13th. Okay, is this why Cardano has went bananas? Or is it this headline from CoinGape.com? Can you believe this headline? Is it true? This article by Bushan, Cardano ADA hits new all-time high. Founder Charles Hodkinson predicts $150 by year end. Do you believe that? Earlier this week, Cardano's ADA cryptocurrency surged north, becoming the third largest cryptocurrency by market cap. Today, ADA has surged to hit its new all-time high, gaining another 15%. At press time, Cardano ADA is trading at a price of $245 and a market cap of $77 billion. That's big time. This has helped ADA emerge as the top trending cryptocurrency in the market. Okay, so this is what's happening. Now, here's the part about Charles Hodkinson. Cardano will touch 150 by year end. In a massive revelation during his recent interview, Cardano founder Charles Hodkinson said that he expects the ADA price to touch 150 by the year's end. This is a massive prediction coming from the founder, which means nearly 60x gains from the current levels. Now, the video for that is not available. Okay? So we got to look for that clip. Post in the comments if you found the clip of Charles Hodkinson talking about $150 ADA. So we don't have the video, so we're going to speculate. On the other hand, Hodkinson said he doesn't see any value in Bitcoin for the future. In a major prediction, he also predicted the Bitcoin could eventually die as it doesn't have an innovative value. The blockchain has no good utility. Whoa, talk about shots fired. Is this true? What do you think? What do you think? Do you think this is a true story? And is this why Cardano has taken off and blowed up? It could be. Now, what I want to do is jump over to a video that's not so recent, and maybe this explains why we are where we are. The island, the ocean, and the pond. Soon. This was published 8 months ago on Charles Hodgkinson's YouTube. I keep butchering the man's name. Just listen to this presentation right now from Mr. ADA. He's talking about the island, the ocean, and the pond. Sounds like a hilarious joke setup.
Cardano main network. And so the title of this video is The Island, the Ocean, and the Pond.
All right, check this out.
The island, the ocean, and the pond. And we're going to talk a little bit about what our dev networks are going to be. Okay. In the beginning, when we started the Cardano project, we had no idea what a smart contract actually was. You know, we had the Nick Szabo 1990s definition. We had the Vitalik Buterin Ethereum definition. And we had things that had happened in industry. We kind of understood what contracts look like. There's paradigms like designed by contract, and there's a programming language called Eiffel that follows that. And we kind of also understood things like a service-oriented architecture or microservices. And we also kind of understood around that there's some sort of off-chain and on-chain paradigm. And there was also projects like, for example, resource-aware ML. So there was these quasi-Turing systems and so forth. So
crypto loves acronyms. You ever notice that?
There was a lot of confusion around what exactly is a smart contract, what does it do, and how does it fit into a broader ecosystem. So usually what you do is you start with a solution in mind. Like, for example, I have a video game, and I want to do DRM for that video game. Okay? Or, you know, I have health software like an electronic medical record system, and I want to make my records portable. Okay, so these are examples of problems you want to solve. And so then you say, okay, what part of that game is going to run on the client's computer or my servers? And what part of that game, the DRM system, maybe runs on chain and so forth. So you already see that there's some sort of decomposition where you have some code running on the blockchain, some code running off of the blockchain. So the pond is Ethereum, and that's where the cryptocurrency space currently exists. And the pond is basically all about saying, oh, okay, there's this little pond. We'll use blue for it. Actually, if we're talking about the Ethereum pond, we should use rainbow. There we go. Here we go. Here's the Ethereum pond. A little bit of water. And basically, this is like a petri dish to experiment with a lot of on-chain activity. So we've seen a proliferation of new paradigms and languages like, for example, the Ethereum virtual machine. We've seen people try to bring in WebAssembly. We've seen a whole bunch of virtual machines written for this particular space. And we've seen some specialized languages, for example, like Solidity is the most popular language, but you also have Viper, you know, you have Serpent, and these other things that have been floating around and exist. Cadena, for example, has something called Pact. It's a Lisp-like dialect. And the reality is that this is just a pond when you think about developers. Firms like Consensus and others, they say over and over again, we've won, we have all the developers, we've won.
Okay, make sure you guys subscribe to Charles Hodgkinson on YouTube and click the all button so you can get all of the updates. He has a bunch of followers, but not more than the big channels on YouTube, which is very interesting.
Everything. But if you actually look at the size of this developer set and the amount of applications deployed compared to the ocean, it's probably more like this.
Okay, now we talk
so
about
very, very, and this is not even a scale.
So
it's probably even smaller. Let's do this.
The little pond.
There you go.
That's
okay. So this is where things like the Java virtual machine lives. This is things like .NET. .NET has 5 million developers. Java has, I think, more than 10 million developers. JavaScript developers. Things like Swift developers and Objective-C developers and so forth. PHP. Okay. There's so much stuff. C, C++. Okay, that's the ocean. And most of this tooling that lives in the ocean is not really doing much or interoperable with what lives in the pond. So while the pond is great for experiments and to basically get an understanding of what you're going to run on chain and off chain, what you're going to do with smart contracts, how you handle the resource and costing models, how you wire smart contracts onto larger things. All that makes sense from an experimental sense, but the reality is you're not going to get mass adoption, mainstream developer adoption, until you have a strategy to cover all of these guys and bring them into your ecosystem.
All right, so far we're at the ocean. We got the pond. Inside the ocean, let's figure out, we're waiting for the island. He's going to drop the island here.
The other thing is that there's a difference between running an experiment and running production code that you intend on having around for a long time. So imagine, if you will, there's a magical island that exists
Shout out to
in the ocean,
Charles.
and it's a perfect island. It's an island where everything goes right. It's an island where the things that you build, they work right the first time, and it's just beautiful. And it's a happy place. It's one of the, if there's the blue zones where people live to 100, that's the island. Okay, the island, the ocean. So what is that island? Well, that is what our scientists spent a huge amount of time building, along with the DSLs. So we recognize that the experiment's important. We recognize that there's a lot of learning that has to be done there. We recognize that it's good to give developers a beautiful experience, something unique and pristine. And we recognize that it makes a lot of sense to have a path and strategy to bringing the tens of millions of developers across the world with their tools, with their languages, into our ecosystem.
All right.
So if we're going to do dev nets that turn into the main net, and we're going to have a smart contract strategy to rule them all, because remember, all of this stuff gets run by Ouroboros
to rule them all,
and our network stack, and it's super high throughput and low cost and easily upgradable, extensible. So we have the right engine to run these things. Then we need a right strategy. So in 2017, we started a relationship with a firm called Runtime Verification. And the reason we did this is for twofold. One, Grigori, the founder of that firm, who's a professor at at University of Illinois, worked for NASA, worked for DARPA. He's a legendary guy. He created something called the K framework. And this is basically like a meta language. So what K is all about is this idea that you can write the semantics, basically how a programming language works and interprets the world around it in a meta language. And then suddenly you can start comparing and contrasting and building tools amongst all of these things. And then second, Runtime Verification is kind of a domain expert in programming languages, and they built something called Yella for us, which is a virtual machine that's based on a very, very, very old, I think this is from 2003, built by Apple, the LLVM. The people
so Charles is getting deep in the, going deep into the technical. Check out that video, and you can answer the question if that is why ADA has smashed all-time highs. Is it the original design of the smart contracts for Cardano? Is it the name? What is that? The name for their Ouroboros? It's slipping my mind right now. But Ouroboros, whatever it is. I can't think of the name of it right now, but it's a really cool name. Sounds like something from a Ghostbusters movie. So anyway, thank you guys. I want to thank everybody for liking this video. If you didn't like this video, make sure you watch the rest of the videos until you find one you like. If you don't like any video, then just share every video you watched with somebody who will. Till tomorrow. 1.